Welcome back to another episode of Rob and Avis Ramble. Trying a little different format than we normally do. We're out getting some miles in and figured, let's bring the camera along. It's windy, it's spitting rain, so I don't know how well this is going to work, but we'll give it a try.
It's colder than it has been to date.
Yeah, it's definitely a little chilly. So, anyway, did you bring a topic?
No.
No. Avis never brings the topics. That's
No.
okay. So, I thought maybe a good one to talk about would be what do we think, through our experience with our kids and raising our children and the ages we were when we had kids. What do we think is the kind of appropriate time period for people to be having kids? Are there pluses and minuses on either end? And obviously we can only kind of speak to our experience because we haven't done it any other way than we did it. But we have known some people and couples we know, and we're kind of doing it differently than we did. So what do you think is the kind of the perfect age for somebody to have kids?
Yeah. I like the way we did it. Do it early. Now we're still young and we have adult children. We can, enjoy them. Doing the activities that they like to do still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we struggled a little financially in the beginning that you might not do if you have your children older.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I think it definitely came with some financial struggles, and I mean, part of that, I think maybe that's a good jumping in point to kind of talk about our personal experience, kind of how we did it. So obviously, as we talked about before, we got married young. Were we 22? Is that what we decided?
I was 21.
You were 21. I was 22 because I'm not quite a year older than you.
Yeah. I wanted to be old enough to have a drink at our wedding.
That was your thing, make you feel like a big adult?
Yeah.
Be able to have a drink at your own wedding?
Yeah. I can't remember if I actually did, but I wanted to be old enough to do it.
Okay. I somewhat recall that. I don't believe we even had alcohol at our wedding that I recall.
Oh, we did, actually.
Did we?
We had a keg.
We did. We had a keg. You're right.
We had a keg.
I do remember that now because the pickup truck I had at the time that we put in the back of, do you remember I dented the tailgate?
No.
With the keg? You don't recall that?
No. I just remember you losing the keys.
Maybe that was more traumatic
for
to
you,
me denting my tailgate than it was for you. Yeah, I was super pissed. Pretty much brand new truck.
Yeah.
And we lunged it up in the air and up in the tailgate and in the bed, and I put a big old dent in the bed. I didn't have a bed liner in it.
I've never been that impressed or non-impressed, whatever you want to say, about dents in vehicles.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, a little more. I've eased up over the years, but
Oh, you have?
I used to. Yeah, I have. That's the amazing thing. Yeah, man. My vehicles used to have to be spotless.
Oh, that's true.
I do not want any sort of blemish on them whatsoever.
Yeah.
And not so much these days. It's kind of the lifestyle we're leading.
But speaking of kids and trauma, one of them will be like, Dad will rage on you if you dent the car.
Yeah. I mean, one of our kids was, he was, how old was he? 7, 8?
Oh, very young, yeah.
Yeah, and you pulled into the garage. I kind of had a affection for Range Rovers for a while. I've had a bunch of them, and I had a brand new one. I don't think I'd even had it a week. Brand new supercharged Range Rover, 500 plus horsepower, fun car, beautiful car. And son jumps out of the back seat, swings his door open with no regard, and smashes the big old dent in the side of my brand new car. And Yeah, not one of my finer moments as a father. I mean, I didn't like crazy overreact, but I was just like, dude, come on. You know, had a serious talking to about we need to be really careful when we're opening doors in the garage.
I think I stopped parking in the garage.
You may have after that. Yeah.
It was tight quarters in there.
Yeah. Anyways, we're getting off track here a little bit, but that's what we do sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, so we got married young, 21. Avis is 22.
No.
21. Avis is 21.
Yeah.
I was 22. I got that backwards. Sorry, little oxygen deprivation here as we're making our way up this hike. Plenty of elevation gain going right now. And so yeah, we did what? We were married for a few years.
Yeah.
You know, 5-ish before we started having kids.
Yeah.
And we got pregnant with our first. Looks like we got some people back there.
I don't think they're on
coming this
our
way.
trail.
Yeah, I think they're just out for more of a nature hike. I don't know, look like they're coming this way. Anyway, we got, where was I going with this?
Had a kid.
Had a kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, got pregnant.
Had our first kid. You got pregnant. You were working at the time.
Yes.
And so we did what from there?
Well, we didn't plan to have children. We didn't plan to not have children either,
it wasn't something we ever talked about one way or the other. But I think I've mentioned this before, but we didn't really, like, we were young. I mean, we've been together since we were 18, and we didn't really, we didn't really like talk. We were just like, hey, we enjoy hanging out with each other, and that kind of worked our way into getting married.
Yeah.
Right. And so it wasn't really that anything different really when we had kids. I think we just kind of had this attitude of, hey, whatever's going to happen is going to happen by God's will, and I'm not going to give it too much thought. And so that's kind of how we ended up. You got pregnant with our first. You were working at the time. I mean, you had been working. We both really started working as soon as we were of age to do so.
Yeah.
And so I think it was, how many months into the pregnancy when you stopped working?
I think I stopped working around 6 months.
6 months in? Okay.
I did stop working a little bit early.
Yeah, and we kind of around that period of life, I had a career I was already established in, and I wasn't happy with kind of where it was going long term and the amount of money that I was already making at a young age. I mean, I was making a pretty good living, but I was like, well, I didn't really see this going a lot further for me. And so around that same period of life, I decided to change careers, which was another, so we're having a kid, I'm getting into a completely different career, and actually resulted in a pay cut. Yeah. Because I was new in this industry. And so kind of, you're having a kid, and we were kind of evaluating, should you work, should you not work, and you had a little freak out about what was the thing you were concerned about putting our kid in daycare.
Yes. Yeah. We went to tour the daycare, you know, as you would do, preparing to have your baby. And it was a room, basically a maze of cribs. And the lady was just so proud of the establishment and joyfully explained to me that I was welcome to customize my baby's space with its very own mobile. And I just, that was it for me. I looked at Rob and basically was like, I never am going back to work, probably. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to figure this out.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much what I said.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's pretty much, I think, as I recall it too, for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't...
Give or take.
I didn't fight you on it at all.
No, you didn't.
Right?
You didn't.
I mean, I was like, hey, we're going to do whatever the best thing to do is.
Yeah.
But the reality of that situation was, you know, with me now on a reduced income because I was changing careers and trying to establish a new career, I, you know, and then I think when that happened, when I took a step back, we were making about the same money.
Yeah.
At that point. And, you know, you stopped working and our income was cut in half.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, that was rough.
Yeah.
that was super rough. I mean, we were already struggling to get by, and that made it 10 times worse in terms of financial.
Yeah.
So.
We learned some lessons too.
Yeah. We're finally starting to get some, get up here a little bit with some views. Check this out. Not too shabby. We started to hike kind of right over here. We're not too far into this at all. I think this hike is gonna take us, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours. Not a super long one. We haven't done any hiking since the kind of crazy, all very long, high elevation day hike we did just, you know, about a month ago. And we haven't been out hiking at all since then. So just doing a little warm-up hike here. Just a couple hours, start getting our legs back under us and go back up again to some longer stuff. Anyways, so what happened from there? Help me out, because I'm trying to, a little bit of it was a blur for me in some ways. It was like I'm now like supercharged, like how can I excel in my career as fast as freaking possible?
Yes.
And, you know, we're trying to cut back and we're trying to make tough decisions with vehicles. And, you know, there was a church we were attending at the time that a guy came to, or a guy, he was a good guy, and he was helping young couples like ourselves out, kind of just working through, you know, financial and how to kind of manage our money and that sort of stuff. And we went to him and we were like, hey, here's the problem. You know, we're having our first kid here. She's stopping working. Our income got cut in half. We're already like pretty much living paycheck to paycheck, struggling here, and not really sure how this is going to work out.
I remember very vividly his answer after about 30 minutes with our finances.
Yeah. So he, you know, as previously mentioned, I have kind of a love of cars. And not at the time that I had anything crazy nice. I mean, but I did have a newer car. Yeah. And you had a newer car.
Yeah.
And we had car payments. Mm-hmm. And he basically said, here's what you guys are going to do. You need to sell a minimum one of those vehicles. And he said, I'm going to give you $3,000. You don't have to pay me back. But he said, that is all the money you have to spend on a car. Yeah. So you go find yourself a car that you can drive, and that's what you have for a budget. You're not to have any more car payments, and we need to lower your insurance rates too.
Yep.
So we took that advice, and you know, I mean, super nice of this guy, right? I mean, this is a guy putting his money where his mouth is and wanting to help couples, you know, young couples, and gave us, you know, money for me to buy a car.
Well, the instruction was we didn't have to pay it back, but we had to pay it forward when we could.
Yes, which we absolutely have done.
Yes.
In perpetuity many times. And yeah, I mean, that'd be a great story to talk about sometime.
Yes.
But, whoa.
Watch it there.
Losing my footing.
There's rocks.
But anyway, so I ended up buying, what did I buy? It was like
It was a Dodge Neon.
No, that was
No?
not the Neon.
Wasn't the Neon?
No, it was some
oh,
other
right.
car.
It was purple. That's all I remember.
That was a Neon. It was not purple. It was blue.
Oh, the little blue car, right.
The blue car.
Where the heat was stuck on and the window wouldn't roll down?
The heat was stuck on, the window wouldn't roll down.
You had vice grips to open the door?
I had vice grips I used to open the door because the door handle was broken off on the inside. I mean...
And we lived in a gated community.
And at the time, we lived in a gated community, right? We were living in an apartment complex, kind of part of our overspending problem we had at the time. And, you know, we couldn't just easily get out of that lease. I mean, that was another thing. He was like, you guys need to get out of this lease, but it just financially wasn't something we could do because we weren't that, you know, it wasn't close enough to the end. So yeah, so we're living in this gated apartment complex, and I'm pulling up in this jalopy of a car, having to open my door with vice grips.
But the car never broke down.
What's that?
The car never broke down.
The car never broke down. I was always worried it was, and I always kept a bike in it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the, you know, the funny thing was my bike was worth more than the car.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that was kind of what life looked like with kid one. And so we basically tried to kind of dial it back financially and get things in order, and it wasn't easy. Like I don't know how to stress that enough.
No, we could not have done it without parental help.
Yeah, there were times we had parental help, you know, which is a nice thing about, you know, I mean, hey, I think, did your parents help us out at all?
I know your mom and her husband did.
My mom and her husband did. Yeah, we, you know, I've talked a little bit about my upbringing and kind of the carnage of divorce and everything, but around this time in my life, now I'm like 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And you know, we're half our income, we got a kid, we're trying to get it dialed together, and my mom ended up remarrying, this was her third husband, who she's still with to this day. He's a good guy, Christian. You know, she's done well with him, and I think he's done well with her. But you know, even this guy who's, you know, coming in doesn't really know us, and he was like, hey, like let me help you, right? Like,
yeah.
So they would flip us cash occasionally as we were trying to kind of wind down the irresponsible spending we had been doing.
I showed up to her house one day, you know, our kid was born in tow. We pull up. She's like, I've been trying to call you. Why haven't you answered? And I was like, oh, well, we couldn't pay our cell phone bill, so I don't have a phone. And she was like, okay, give me your account number right now.
Yeah.
So it was those kinds of instances where
things
we
like
weren't
that.
Always asking, and they were always just offering.
And we did honestly try really hard not to take advantage of any of those situations because it's just the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's kind of how we managed it, you know, as Ava said. Sometimes we couldn't pay the bill, right? And cell phones get shut off and stuff happens, and you know, we're trying to wind it down. And we did eventually kind of reach an equilibrium where we got enough stuff dialed back that, you know, it's not like we were out having tons of fun. Right?
No.
By any means. But we kind of got the financial free fall under control. I had to take a quick break to check this out. So landscape's changing a little bit here again.
Oh yeah, this is pretty.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't so cloudy. There's some mountains back here that we can't see, some pretty big ones.
Probably getting snow today.
Yeah, probably getting snow there today. And I'm just hoping this rain isn't going to move in on us in earnest. So yeah, we kind of got our finances straightened out a little more, and
can we talk about the time just before that was happening? We were really like getting a good grip on things. We could pay all the bills, but you would also be like, all right, we have $30 for groceries this week, and I would be like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, just a couple boxes of mac and cheese, and yeah. I mean, it was hard. I won't, and I think that's kind of the point that we're going with is when you're young, it's hard, man. It's hard. And, you know, we were fortunate that we had some people in our lives that were able to kind of give us some guidance through our church at the time and, you know, and family, right? So, would we have made it? I'm sure we would have.
Yeah, we're survivors. We would have figured it out.
Somehow, some way, some other. It would have come together. But yeah, so kind of fast forward, you know, roughly 2 years, and we got kid number 2 on the way.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, getting a little easier, right? I was making more money. I was kind of definitely progressing pretty quickly in the new career I'd chosen. You still were not working.
No.
And doing the whole stay-at-home mom thing and managing the household, which I'm ever grateful for. I don't think people put enough, you know, emphasis on just how important that can be just to the stress of your family. I mean, you're already dealing with enough stressful stuff, right? You don't have money, you don't have things. And I understand a spouse working, you know, an additional spouse working can add additional income. But then you've got things like, if you don't have family, you've got daycare, right? And for us, you know, we didn't have family super close by. You know, kind of at this point when kid number 2 was on the way, we had moved, you know, as part of trying to get our finances under control. And we actually ended up buying a house, bought our first home. And, you know, but that pushed us further out of the city to be able to afford it. And we ended up pretty far out, right? I mean, we were a good 90 minutes from our nearest parent. So kind of having a place to go drop a kid off so that Avis could go to work wasn't a thing. And as already mentioned, she was just like, there's no way she can do daycare. And just kind of looking at the whole financial picture, if she'd gone back to work, by the time we pay for daycare, fuel, clothing, like all the things that she would need to re-enter the workforce, on top of the stress of it, it did not make any sense.
No.
And so we were just like, we're gonna keep on keeping on. So what transpired from there? I mean, we're living in this new home we bought. We got 2 kids now, 2 girls, and there was a 3rd pregnancy, and that one miscarried.
Yep.
So, you know, and then we Avis, ended up pregnant again, and that was about 2 years, roughly, almost to the day. Well, I don't know about the pregnancy, but the birth of our son. So we had one, 2 years later, another, 2 years later, we had our 3rd. And definitely getting a little easier. You know, I was, by that point in that kind of, what was that, 6-year period, roughly? You know, I had made some pretty good strides in income and my new career, and you know, things were getting better. It was getting easier to only have one income, and Avis was rocking in at home. So you're how old at that point? So we had our 3rd.
Early 30s.
Early 30s, okay.
Yeah.
So, and what happened at that point? We were like, okay, let's have a discussion about this. Like, we haven't even been talking about what our plans were for kids, right? We're just letting stuff happen to us.
Yeah.
And there's some beauty in that, right? And not trying to plan your life out to this nth degree and just letting life happen. There is some beauty in that. But I think with 3 kids, it was getting a little like, okay, this is getting to be something we need to talk about. And so what happened, Avis?
Well, we talked about preventing that through sterilization, and you were not super keen on the idea. And so at a certain point I was like, okay, fine, like no matter what happens to you in life, I am done. Like, I never have a desire to have more children, so I will do it. And we made an appointment. We went in to see the doctor, and you went with me to be supportive. And She came in and talked to us, left the room, came back in and handed you papers and said, "You're doing this, she's not, it's easier for you."
Right.
So
That's pretty much exactly what happened. And in all honesty, man, holding this camera up. I didn't anticipate this. I was going to be holding this camera up for
you
this
need
long.
a stick.
I should have. I know. I need some kind of stick. That's all right. We're good.
We're always learning.
Always learning. So yeah. So yeah. And so I kind of, you know, I heeded the doctor's recommendation because, yeah, I mean, it was way more invasive for Avis, right? I mean, getting your tubes tied is, I don't know, do they consider that major surgery? I mean,
Well, they have to cut in or go into you, like cutting to you. I'm not really sure because I didn't do it.
yeah.
But, yeah, it is, you know, my stuff is internal, whereas your stuff is accessible externally.
Yeah. So all things considered, I reconsidered my position of, I didn't want to get the snip to, hey, I got to do what's best for my wife, right? Part of my role as husband is, you know, I don't want to put her through any more unnecessary strain and risk than I have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the snip, and not crazy about that. At the time, I mean, that it's fine. It was no big deal, but I don't care for anesthesia. I don't know why. It's just some weird.
You don't know why?
Weird tick I have out of the and even like Novocaine. Like even I haven't had a ton of cavities in my life, but cavities I've had filled with no Novocaine, and I know that may freak some people out, and even freaks out the dentist. They're like, whoa. But from my point of view, it's like you get 30-40 seconds of excruciating pain while they're kind of, as long as it's not a big cavity, right? They get those small ones pretty quick, and then you're good, and my face isn't numb for the next 6 hours.
I'll take all of your Novocaine and
You'll
more.
take it all, yeah.
My body metabolizes it fast.
So when I went in for the snip, I told him, like, I don't want any anesthetic. I don't want to be put under, that sort of stuff. And the doc was like, well, I won't do the surgery unless you at least get local anesthetic. He's like, I don't have to put you under, but you're gonna at least get local numbing. And I was like, all right, I will take that deal. And yeah, it was kind of you know, they wheeled me in. The other thing he said to me was, he was like, also, like, my end of the deal in addition is I cannot move.
Yeah.
I cannot get wigged out. I cannot, like, because you obviously can't have me jumping around while he's trying to do surgery on my, you know, my sack down there. So I went in, and the doc, the nurses, and you know, I'm there fully awake on the table with my man parts exposed, and he shoots me up with some local anesthetic and starts going to town, and I'm just laying there on the table and I'm seeing smoke rising up as he's cauterizing stuff. It's kind of a weird feeling when you've got smoke rising up from your nether regions. I think it looks like the trail's going this way.
I think so. I got the map.
Have you checked recently to see we're still on it?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the snip, and
Yeah, we're good.
okay, we're good. No more kids. Healing was really quick, easy, and
Although I would like to add, they released you probably a little sooner than they should have.
yeah.
And they have me come and greet you, and it's a short walk to the car from the door. We get about halfway across the parking lot, and I think it all starts hitting you, and you start getting woozy,
Yeah.
and you start like almost going down. And I was like, look,
Yeah.
I can get you down to the ground as softly as possible, but
Yeah.
you gotta lay there until you pull this together.
That was kind of the funny thing, was they were like insistent that they wheel me to the vehicle in a wheelchair, and I was like, no, I'm good. And yeah, it wasn't as good as I thought it was.
You're good for about half the walk.
About half the walk. Yeah, I mean, I did. I don't know what that was. Maybe just I was reliving the trauma of smoke coming up between my legs. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. So that was the end of us having any more kids. But hey, we've got 3 at that point, and
3 great kids.
3 great kids. They are good kids. Yeah, they're good kids. And you know, I guess we're like really rambling here, but I think the question was that we started with is what is the right age to have kids? Because we have other friends. I mean, we have people that didn't start having kids until their 40s.
Yeah.
I've got one buddy had his first kid at 50.
Yeah.
Now his wife is a little younger. She was like maybe mid 30s or late 30s at the time. But he's 50, man, having his first kid. And dude, I mean, that kid's graduating high school, and you're I mean, you're approaching 70.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fit 50, but
he is a fit 50.
Like, how long can you keep up with your kids and their activities and?
Yeah. But hey, you know what? They're rocking it.
Yeah.
They're still rocking it. And so yeah, I think from a financial point of view, it is harder when you're young. I get that. I don't discount that at all. I completely understand the why someone would reason that, right? But the flip side of that is we're 50. Our kids are out of the house, right? Life's pretty damn good right now.
Yeah.
We love our kids. I don't say that to mean I don't love our kids, but we have a lot of freedom.
We love each other too.
And we love each other. And we didn't like kids. I know there are marriages. The kids are kind of the glue that are holding those marriages apart. And some of those marriages fall apart when the kids leave home, right?
Yeah.
But we're just, that's not us, right?
No.
We were like, hey, yeah, let's, and all of our kids left, you know, our oldest, for just for privacy reasons, I'll just kind of keep the details out of it, but our oldest was out of the house at 18. Nothing bad. This is nothing bad. She just, you know, all of our kids were kind of like, they've all worked. I mean, we had them all working as early as they could, even while they're going to school.
But they had desire to work,
and they had desire to do it. And so, you know, when they're of age and the earliest we can get them out on their own, let's go for it. So our oldest was 18. Our youngest, she 19? I'm sorry, our middle child, was she 19?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think she's been out since she was 19. And our son has been out since he was 17. Now, there's a little story there. His sister that's 2 years older than him, our middle child, she ran into a little difficulty and was either going to have to come back home for financial reasons, or we needed to help her. And so we had somewhat recently relocated around the time this was happening, and we downsized quite a bit because we knew we were getting to our empty nester phase, and it just seemed like the right time for us to make a move. And when we had kids, you know, our 3 kids, the last house we were in, we lived in a huge house. I mean, it was huge. So 6, 7 bedrooms,
at least
6 full baths, like,
yeah,
huge house. And we wanted to kind of get out of that area and get out into this beautiful area we live in now. And we were like, it just doesn't make sense for us to buy another massive freaking home. So we'll suck it in and buy a smaller place, even though at that time we still had the middle child and the youngest at home. So the middle child leaves, still got the youngest at home, and but it was tight with her there, right? With all of us here and her there and my son. Like, it wasn't the most enjoyable experience in terms of, especially coming from all the room that we had.
Yeah.
So wasn't anxious for her to come back home. So our son, I was like, you know what? Let's just get her a bigger apartment, and we'll move our son in with her, and I'll pay his portion of the rent. He's 17, right? I don't think anybody would say that's, unreasonable of us to, pay our son's rent when we kind of invited him out of the house at 17. All right, where are we going here?
I believe we're going right.
Right, okay. Are we going in this wash here? We got, looks like there's some kind of trail here.
That could be the trail.
Maybe it's this? Yeah.
It's pointing this way.
It's pointing this way?
Yeah.
All right, in the wash.
I will
Great place
keep
to be
an eye on it.
Great place to be when it's raining.
Yeah.
Actually, hopefully I don't think we're getting a ton of rain, but yeah. If you guys ever come out west.
Hold on.
We're still sorting out the map here.
Yeah, it might be over
Is it
here.
this way?
I think so.
This looks
Although
that
I
way.
pointed that way and it wasn't working.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys ever, those of you who maybe having to listen to this, you're coming out west, like these washes are not to be screwed with when it's raining.
Yeah, see, this isn't the trail either.
That's not it?
No.
Did we like completely get off trail, do you think?
We were on trail up here.
Too much yapping, not really paying attention to where we're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Anyway, so son, he's out at 17.
I think I see it.
Moved him in with his sister into an apartment, and they shared an apartment together for a year. And then,
That's not it either.
well, I paid his rent. And then when he turned 18, we moved them into a townhouse. He and his sister are still sharing it. And he started paying his own rent. So all of our kids, kind of from 18 on, have been, for the most part, pretty responsible and able to care for themselves. I'm not saying they haven't needed a little help here and there, but that is normal life. That is real life. It's expensive these days. And what do you think? This is the same marsh.
We just keep going back and forth.
How do we get so turned around?
Well, we just lost the trail. That's when we went down across the wash.
All right, I see footprints down here. Let's jump down here into this wash and see. So, whoa.
Yeah, historically, this is not going to end well for me.
What, coming down to loose stuff?
Yeah.
So anyways, all the kids, at this point in our kind of little ramble on story here, they're out of the house by 18, all pretty much making their own way. Now I will say,
No, we're not on the trail.
we're not on the trail.
Okay.
Avis is struggling with her navigation task here today.
I mean, there's no clear trail. I'll get there.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll just keep walking in circles and talking until we figure this out.
Yeah.
So, where was I going with this? Oh, what I was going to say is one of the things that I decided pretty early on for our kids that was always a struggle for me growing up. And, our family, just kind of our family history and the things that happened, there just wasn't a lot of money and a lot of opportunity for parents to kind of help get us started in life. And just having a reliable vehicle to drive, not easy. So, and expensive, and the insurance and all that stuff. So all of our kids, what I decided was that when they became of driving age, I was going to buy all of them a brand new vehicle, at 16, and that would be their vehicle.
I found the trail.
You found a trail. All right, good. So we ended up buying them vehicles to help get them started in life. So,
I lost the trail.
I think that is if you were in a place to be able to do that for your kids, it's important to have transportation, right? It's hard to work, it's hard to get to school, it's hard to do these things. And so we we did give them that in life. So they did not have that hanging over their heads, which did help with their ability to be able to get out of the house at 18.
And bonus, they didn't have to drive your coveted vehicles.
Yeah, that too. So the plan in that was they all get one car. The reality in that was I ended up buying my oldest daughter 2 vehicles by my choice because there had been some technology improvements. And I was like, man, I'd really like her to have a little more safety features than what she's having. And then my second daughter, the vehicle that I gave her, she was in an accident that was not her fault, and totaled her vehicle. She was okay, nothing real serious injury wise for her, but
There we go.
it is. Okay, are we finally on the trail?
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, we're wandering around for like 10 minutes in a circle.
Well, that's why I run the map. I found it.
So, yeah, this is where I thought it went. So anyway, you know, we did get some insurance money for that, but it wasn't enough to cover what was going to be a great vehicle for her. And so we chipped in with the insurance money and got her something else to replace it. But my son, he's been rocking the same one the whole time. Anyway, where was I going with that, Avis? I've been doing all this yapping while you're trying to figure out how to get us back on the trail.
I was just wandering around in the desert. No big deal. I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't know.
If you can, do it for your children.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you can, I think any help you can give them to get started in life, you shouldn't apologize as a parent for doing that.
Heck no.
I have some friends that they have very wealthy parents, very wealthy. Like, you know, I'll just leave it at that. Very wealthy. Imagine what you imagine a very wealthy individual who has no concerns about, you know, and they did things like providing homes and businesses and things for their kids. And man, I think that's great, honestly. Like, if you were in a position, I mean, what more bigger purpose is there in life than helping your family and your children find as much success, love, and happiness in this world as they can? And I know some people won't agree with that, and they say that, you know, it spoils children and all that. And at least this family that I'm talking about has not been the case. They're good people. So, you know, I don't think you shouldn't shy back from helping your kids if you're able.
No.
And if you can't, you shouldn't feel shame about that, right? I mean, that's also the reality. I think you just help them where you can, and man, you just gotta move on with life. Anyway,
I love having adult children.
yes, I think that's ultimately where I was trying to go with this conversation.
Yeah.
Which was, yeah. So we've got all our kids are out of the house now, you know, and kind of how that transpired, and they're great to hang out with and talk, and it's just wonderful seeing them grow into their own lives and their own things, and you know, just, and there's a lot of joy in that. And we're not too old, right?
Yeah.
We're not like, we get out, we'll sometimes get out and do this stuff and get our kids out here hiking with us, or, you know, doing a lot of the activities and stuff that we like to do. And it's great to be young enough to enjoy that. And I feel like if you're pushing it off too far, you know, like, yeah, you're still gonna experience your kids as young, but it's gonna be more difficult to experience them as young adults, because your age is just going to catch up with you at some point.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that's my view of it. I'd be curious to hear, you know, other people. I mean, we've heard other views from people we know. As we said, we know people have had kids later in life, and we know kind of why that happened. But I just think if you're talking ideals, I think that's the ideal, you know. Now, what the reality is of pulling that off with financial concerns, increasing inflation, all the kind of issues we have with modern dating and all that, I don't discount any of that. I know, very difficult. Times are different than when Avis and I were getting our lives together. I mean, times were different for our parents when they were getting their lives together. Times do change, but I don't discount that things don't seem to be getting increasingly difficult. I see it in our kids. I see it, in other people. I know it's hard. So I'm just talking ideals, right? If you have the opportunity to go for the ideal, I think it's to do it young.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you really missing out on? Partying through your 20s, your 30s. So what? Party when you're 40 and 50, right?
Yeah, it's better. You have more money.
You have more money. You have more ways to enjoy it. Life can be super fulfilling at this age. I mean, I honestly, at the 51 years old I am right now, I mean, yeah, my body's not what it used to be. Avis's body is not what it used to be, although I will say she's doing damn good.
Thank you.
But it's just the reality of, you're not gonna, where was I going with this?
Having kids young and the benefit.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but I was trying to go somewhere about just getting older. And yeah, okay, I know what I was gonna say. Despite kind of like our bodies are breaking down, and that's just nature, that's gonna happen, right? 9 years, I'm gonna be 60. How much more broken down do you think my body's gonna be? Can I be the best 60 I can be? Yes. But I'm still gonna be 60.
I can't imagine having a toddler at 60.
Yeah.
They take a lot of energy.
But what I'm trying to say is, life doesn't suck.
No.
Yeah, our bodies are breaking down. We're getting older. We're doing these things. But man, so much other stuff about our life is so fulfilling that those things don't matter as much. I don't want to say they don't matter at all, because they do. Right?
We do our best to.
There is practical, like I can't go out there and mix it up with 25-year-old guys on the bike and, kick their ass like I used to when I was 25. But I still have fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. So life doesn't have to suck just because you got older. And kind of trading away your younger years because you're having a family, I don't think it's that bad.
I don't think we gave up too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still had hobbies and activities and
yeah, we did stuff. I mean,
stayed fit and
yeah, absolutely. We still did stuff with kids. Your life's not over because you have kids. Your life's not over because you have kids when you're young. Yes, you might need to make some sacrifices. Yes, life won't look exactly like it will if you're single. It's going to be different, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just different. And I can tell you, being on the other side of that, life's pretty damn good when you're still relatively young enough to enjoy life with your kids out of the house. It's great. And it's giving us the time and the opportunity to put into, passion projects and other things. Like this is a passion project right here, this Ramble thing. And it's a good place to be.
it is.
So, all right, Avis. How long have we been going here? I don't even know how long I've been talking. Let me turn this camera around and take a look. 48 minutes.
Oh, wow.
This is like a lot
You're
of
getting
rambling.
a hike and a shoulder workout.
Yeah. I know. We just got I don't know. We got a ways to go up here before we even hit the turnaround point, but I'm not going to belabor this too much longer. I think we had some discussion. I was just kind of on my mind and wanted to have. So, any final words on your end?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
All right.
I will say, I did not know that I would enjoy having adult children as much as I do, but it's wonderful.
Yeah. Can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, why? What makes it so wonderful from your point of view?
Probably can't without crying, so I'm gonna go with no.
Okay. So there are reasons. Avis just doesn't want to cry. She's a crier.
Yeah, I am.
We've talked about that many times. So.
And my nose is already running because of the weather.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's fair enough. Maybe we'll tackle that topic another day. So anyways, guess we'll wrap this thing up. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. Let us know if you like this format. We'll be out, you know, it's desert hiking season. It's cooled off. It's chilly today. So we'll kind of be out hiking a bunch. That's one of the things we like to do together. So, you know, let us know if you guys like this format. Maybe we'll try to do more of this rather than sitting in our little home podcast studio. So.
And Rob will get a pole to help his arm.
Get a pole. Yeah, maybe I'll improve my camera setup here or something. I don't know. All right. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll see you on the next one.